So during the winter, fishing is sometimes tough enough, but it's been exceptionally windy here lately, pretty much since Christmas. We're getting towards the end of January, but it just seems every single weekend comes and the forecast is for high winds. And even if the winds settle down just a little bit, the water's just so dirty and silty that there's just really not much fishing that's worth doing. The waves are too high and you have to use too big of a weight. So I'm gonna have to try to find out if I can go to where the fish are and maybe where it's not so windy. So the winds have been coming out of the east, so I'm gonna drive across the entire state in about 3.5 hours to get to the Gulf Coast. All right, so we got a little sidetracked here. I pulled in the gas station to fill up with gas, and some guy just approached me saying that his car broke down and he needed a jump. So I'm gonna head over to where his car is and see if we can get his car started. So I gotta admit, when the guy asked me for help to help jump his car, and he said it was in a storage unit, in the back of my mind I was a little creeped out. You know, I kind of had these flashes of thinking like, oh, ask for help or whatever, and then knock the guy in the back of the head with a hammer or whatever, stick him in a storage unit. And I mean, all I could think of is, you know, Silence of the Lambs, and maybe the guy needed a size 16 dress, size skin or whatever, to make a dress out of. So we got the car started successfully. Guy's happy. Now we're on the road. So I'm going to give a little Florida geography lesson to those who aren't from Florida. If you come down the East Coast, you have Route 95 that runs all the way from Maine all the way to Miami. And I'd probably say most of the cities and most of the people live on the east side of Route 95. So you have Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, you have the Space Coast, you have the Treasure Coast, you have Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, down in Miami. And there's a few exceptions. There are some small places here and there that are on the west side of 95, but for the most part, everything's on the east side of 95. On the Gulf Coast, you have Route 75 that's coming down, and that goes through like Ocala and Tampa and Sarasota, Fort Myers to Naples, down to the Everglades. So I've made that trip across the state multiple times, and you know, sometimes you go to a place you haven't been for a while, and you just point like, oh, that wasn't there last time we were here. Oh, that wasn't there last time we were here. Well, I've been taking that road for about 12 years now, and it hasn't changed at all. There's nothing new on it. There's been no growth. So we're at my fishing spot, and instead of just going to the dock and trying to see if there's any fish there, what usually happens is there's a sheepshead, good size one, that usually lives under my dock. And I go and I peek under, I see him, and then I try casting under the dock and I scare him away. So today I'm going to try casting before I get to the dock, and then start reeling it in to under the dock, see if I can catch him first time. There seems to be some activity out in the middle of the canal there. I think it's probably a manatee or something. So I've been trying to catch this guy for quite the while. I already tossed the hook. That's a good sized sheepshead. Let's see. Measure him up. That was literally first cast within 5 minutes. And he's probably about 13. So 14 inches. It's a good size. Not going to keep him today, obviously. I came 3.5 hours. I'm not going to do a catch and cook today. Maybe next time. We'll let this one go back. So what I'm using today is just frozen shrimp. Little teeny hook. Just pieces of it. This will be a little baby mangrove snapper. Slightly better snapper here. Probably about 10 inches. today hasn't been quite as good as I hoped. I kind of figured if we came over here it'd be a little bit less wind and a lot more fish. Only catching 3 fish for a 3-hour drive each way probably wasn't worth it. Might have to rethink that next time I get this idea in my head.